Welcome to the Rise of Cryptocurrencies show for the first quarter of 2018. As with every Q1 since cryptocurrencies started trading, we saw a great massacre in the price of many of them. To date, around 80% of ICOs have completely zeroed out. Bitcoin crashed top to bottom over 60%. Many coins in the top 10 have completely cratered, let alone the smaller, less liquid projects. So we've got that going on one hand, but on the flip side, between Cisco, Intel, Volkswagen, Audi, Chinese oil companies, and other large Fortune 500 companies who are either in the process of utilizing blockchain in their own businesses or putting in the effort to profit by innovation and patents, this sector is actually thriving. So there seems to be a disconnect between cryptocurrencies and the underlying blockchain technology. And so I've brought a first-time guest on. His name is Tony from Crypto Cousins, and they've got a great YouTube channel and a great website. And he's going to discuss with me some of these topics. So Tony, how are you today?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me on, Lior.
I'm glad that you came on. And you know, Wealth Research, you published a number of reports on cryptocurrencies and blockchain in 2017. Our microdoc called Bitcoin 20,000 Dream or Reality was published just weeks before Bitcoin made the trip all the way up to that price level of 19,500, and it became the #1 most viewed documentary on YouTube and that time. We aggregated all of our reports under the umbrella of wealthresearchgroup.com/rocket. I know your channel also surrounds around education, and you recently attended many conferences. What are the top 3 ideas floating around right now on how this industry will go moving forward?
Well, we've been seeing so much change in this first few months, and a lot of the change has been technological. And so there's a lot of exuberance in the Bitcoin community from the technologists. We really see the idea that Bitcoin will go all the way. It will triumph over all of the challenges, whether the challenges be regulatory or from alternative cryptocurrencies, alternative forks. So we really feel that that is going to be a strong move with Bitcoin. So a lot of Bitcoin maximalists feel that Bitcoin has been, critically criticized because of its slowness, because every 10 minutes there's a confirmation on the network. But now we're seeing second layer solutions like the Lightning Network, which has gathered a lot of amazing press and visibility in the last few weeks. The Lightning Network enables thousands of transactions in moments, and that makes a difference in the usability of Bitcoin. The other viewpoint, the second viewpoint, is that regulation will crush Bitcoin. So entire countries will say, hey, this is not going to work. We're just going to outlaw it. China outlawed exchanges, and other countries have follow suit. And so there's been a crackdown, but I believe the crackdown is more focused, again, not on the technology, but on the players in the technology field. So you have people, offering ICOs, but with nothing but a white paper and a dream, and raising, millions of dollars because the field is so hot. They're able to do that. So that's the second idea. And then really the third idea is this usurping of the idea of blockchain and Bitcoin by the incumbent players. So you have banks and businesses saying, we don't really care about Bitcoin, but blockchain we love. We love the idea of blockchain. And so, this is really this usurping of the idea that you can take blockchain, which is a way of managing the data, and remove it from proof of work, which is the idea that a decentralization in the network will secure the money in a trustless fashion. And so you have banks creating centralized blockchains and people doing private blockchains, and a number of actors that are trusted are presenting proof of stake within the network, and they say that that's going to be the way they secure. But unfortunately, many people believe that proof of work is the only way that you can ensure that a blockchain will be both decentralized and secured.
Very interesting. Okay, so let's talk about what happened in Q1. We're past the first quarter of the year. Total market cap for cryptos went from about 612 billion down to 261 billion. Ripple, for example, dropped 78%. Bitcoin Cash 73%. These are incredible drops. Is this a bear market?
Well, it certainly could be, by any definition, called a bear market. You have these stocks which had been pumped dramatically. You had people on CNBC giving a 1, 2, 3 step instructions for how to buy Ripple. You know, the average guy on the street doesn't understand a cryptocurrency from an ICO, from a token, from, you know, a security. And so this pumping of both Ripple and Bcash, to see them fall in such a dramatic fashion is not a surprise. I think the fundamentals are there for cryptocurrency to have a future. I think that the exuberance and the bubble that happened due to Thanksgiving, I call it the Thanksgiving effect. Everyone went home. They talked with their college sons and daughters, and they said, is there something real here? What is going on? And then the kids came home and said, yeah, Mom and Dad, you really need to buy crypto. And so everyone went out and bought crypto on Thanksgiving, and that gave us what we saw was this huge run-up. But now everything is coming back. Of course, it is a cyclical event. Every January, February or so, Bitcoin does come back down, and Bitcoin leads the pack, and basically all the other cryptos are really following it to diversify yourself in cryptocurrency and buying other coins, buying ICO coins that is not going to diversify you in any way.
Interesting. I know both you and your partner, Gary, are in the retail business. Have you started implementing payment in Bitcoin or using blockchain for logistics or management in your businesses? Is this something you're seeing done by small business people already?
Definitely not. I mean, this is something that is, as people are fond of saying, we're back in internet years. We're like 1992 with regard to blockchain. You know, we don't have even our Netscape Navigator browser yet. We don't have that sort of killer app. People are doing that. Overstock.com took Bitcoin. Newegg took Bitcoin. Microsoft took Bitcoin. You know, big players have taken Bitcoin. Gary Leland, my partner, takes Bitcoin at his shop. He has a wallpaper shop. He has a softball supply store, and they both take Bitcoin. But it's more of a novelty at this point. Your average guy in the street's not going to come in and buy wallpaper or softball bats with Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency.
Interesting. What can happen if governments decide to adopt their own cryptocurrency on the state level, like Venezuela has done? Have you considered a scenario where cryptocurrencies will be outlawed?
Oh, there's definitely that possibility. The governments can outlaw whatever they want. You know, you can outlaw big drinks in New York. You can't get a big soda. You can outlaw smoking and walking. I think that's also in New York. New York's got a lot of strange laws. You can outlaw, who can have sex with whom. You know, it's really, anyone can take a piece of paper and write down what they want to outlaw. However, Bitcoin is not subject to specific regions. It's a global phenomenon. So, what jurisdiction does a particular area have over Bitcoin? SEC can regulate all day long, but their jurisdiction is, within the United States. So they're all going to have a little bit of trouble negotiating that territory.
That's very true. Now, why own cryptocurrencies? What's the main reason of value proposition as far as you're concerned?
Well, the idea is that you've going from unsound money that is continually inflating. The inflation rate eats away at your money every year. No one thinks about it because it's, just a few percent. But in recent years now, you can't go to the bank. You can't get a CD. You can't get any sort of investment in a traditional fashion that will offset the inflation. So people put their money in the bank and they just watch it rot away like bread rotting on the shelves. So the young people who see what cryptocurrency is, they see that we have a monetary store of value that doesn't get eaten away by inflation, but rather has a deflationary programmed into it. The deflationary aspect is that there will only be 21 million Bitcoin. 21 million is a very small number, considering that I think there's 11 million millionaires in the U.S. So if each one wanted to buy 2 Bitcoin, it's not going to happen. There aren't enough. So the rarity of it is more so even than gold or silver. We don't know how much we can dig out of the ground of these rare minerals, but Bitcoin, we know mathematically there will only be 21 million.
So which projects are you bullish on?
Well, I'm bullish on any project that revolves around the Bitcoin Core network. The folks that are developing Bitcoin Core have an incredible background. These are people who have implemented HTTPS on the main Bitcoin, on the main internet protocols. These are people who have invented things in cryptography that have a lasting value. Folks that are doing that type of work, working on the Lightning Network, for instance. The Lightning Network is an open protocol, but 3 different companies are working on that to give us a Lightning protocol that sits above the internet, sits above the Bitcoin protocol. So Bitcoin as a first layer solution is most promising. Lightning Network next promising. And I do believe that atomic swaps, which enable people to trade back and forth between different currencies, Litecoin to Bitcoin, for instance, on a Lightning Network, is another promising technology that will enable us to start doing trade in cryptocurrencies.
Now, wealthfeaturesgroup.com/top1, top and the number 1, and top and the number 4. Those are some of the special reports that we wrote about 5 altcoins that interest us in 2018. I know in the conferences that I attend, there are plenty of bankers that go, and I speak with them, and they are looking at this as something that fell on them one day, and they're trying to figure out how to wrap their heads around this. If they need to acquire companies in the blockchain sector, are they competing with them? Is this something that can even help their business? How do you see the banking industry going forward?
Well, I believe that there's a great opportunity for the banking industry. I mean, you have people with years and years of experience in the financial space, and they can help to educate people how they can manage their money in the future. But they have to regain a level of trust to do so. I mean, there are trusted players, and there are players that haven't been very forthright with regard to how they're using people's money. So now people have a little bit more of a firmer ground to stand on. They can be the sovereign holder of their money. They can keep it safe. They can manage their own money on the Bitcoin blockchain, and they don't need banking. So now banking has to reinvent itself. As with all disruption in a field, you have to look and say, well, my value proposition, in other words, keeping money safe, investing money in a way that helps my client. Those value propositions are slowly crumbling away. So bankers need to redefine themselves and ask themselves, how can they be relevant in a post-Bitcoin world?
Now, where can people follow you guys? Your channel and your website and everything that you guys do. Can you share with people more about what's going on with CryptoCousins?
Yeah, the Crypto Cousins, which is myself and Gary Leland, are at cryptocousins.com. We have all of our channels can be found there, cryptocousins.com/subscribe. We have a podcast on Apple iTunes. We're in Google Play. We're on Spotify. I'm pretty much in several dozen places to listen to our podcast, which we publish twice a week. We have a regular show. We have an interview show on Thursdays, and Gary does a show every morning called 4 Minute Crypto. He wakes up earlier than myself, and he gets more done before I even get out of bed. So you can check out his 4 Minute Crypto at 4minutecrypto.com.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show, Tony.
My pleasure, Lior.